there are some things that I've told you on this channel that I want to remind you of. One of them is that what is happening in Gaza right now is, it does affect you. It is, you may be looking at it and thinking, oh, it doesn't affect me and this isn't happening to me. But I've told you that this is going to happen to you. I've told you that this is a sign to you. The other thing I've told you is that this is essentially like Samaria in the Bible. These people in Gaza are ethnic Jews. I've told you this before. They are ethnic Jews. There is no reason why the devils calling themselves Jews should be attacking their brothers and sisters. They know that these are ethnic Jews. But if you remember the split between the two kingdoms and how that northern kingdom was always trying to come against the southern kingdom that was smaller and overpower them and kill them, etc., these were their brothers and sisters. I mean, they were Israel. They were all Israel at one time. But these tribes got split, and one became the northern kingdom and one became the southern kingdom. And so this is nothing new. So now this is a smaller and weaker group of people who are being persecuted by their own brothers and sisters as far as ethnicity goes. They welcomed them in after the Holocaust. There are many testimonies all over the world. In Iran, right now, currently in Iran, there's a group of Jews that are welcomed, that are embraced. They're not a minority. They will even testify to you that they don't feel like a minority, that they are embraced in this community. So to say that Persians or Arabs or Muslims are terrorists and that they hate everybody who doesn't belong to them is a lie. Sit down and listen to them. Listen to the way that they speak. Listen to their ideology. Listen to how they talk. But I'll tell you one thing. I can't listen to an Israeli in a court proceeding, for example, without hearing them screaming and the blatant entitlement and arrogance and evil that comes from these Zionist devils. It's like night and day. I don't understand this narrative and how the narrative, this narrative of terrorism can continue. How does it continue? And that this other group of people are victims. I don't understand that at all. So here's what I want to tell you, is that to be sure, the people in Gaza are experiencing God's judgment. I mean, you can't deny that, and I don't really care if you have an opinion about, oh, that's not nice to say. No, I'm going to speak according to the word. If judgment has been brought, it's because God has brought it, and he's brought it for his purpose. And he's brought it because they turned to other gods, just like the people in Samaria turned to other gods. That was their sin. They were practicing a different religion. Now, I don't want to hear from anyone who is going to say that Allah is another god. Allah just means God, okay? And what I see these people doing is when people are killed, when their children are killed, that they give praise to God in their overwhelming grief. They give praise to God and they ask him to accept their soul. I don't see those calling themselves Christian do that, and I don't see those calling themselves Jews do that. These people, I've said it to you many times, are better Christians and Jews than those calling themselves Christians and Jews. The word says that God brings judgment on his people first. The word says that all Israel will be saved. Not a land in the Middle East. All Israel, all his people will be saved. The criteria for being Israel is circumcision of the heart. It is not descent. But the word also says that of those who are descended, that there is a remnant that's going to be saved, but they will not be saved until all of the Gentiles come in. Well, when does that happen? Well, there's a second resurrection in which Gentiles will come in. And because certain Jews turned away and went to serve a different version of religion and a different God, they are being dealt with right now. And the word says that the older will serve the younger. So this nation that was called to him initially, that had been set apart and chosen, is going to serve the younger. And actually, not all of them, because the first Christians were Jews, newsflash. But there is a group of people who are going to be saved in the second resurrection. They will be saved only as one escaping the flames. They chose the flesh like Esau, right? Understand the metaphor he's using. The older will serve the younger. So he's talking about Esau and Jacob, the sign of Esau and Jacob. Esau, who gave up his inheritance to gratify the flesh, sought his blessing later in tears, but could not get it back. They will be saved only as one escaping the flames. They will not have an inheritance. These are those experiencing judgment right now. As far as fake Israel is concerned, that is the rod that God is using in order to punish. But they're going to their destruction. There will be no salvation for them. Those dying right now in Gaza, a remnant will be saved in the second resurrection. These are the Jews that will be saved, that will be brought in. They are being dealt with right now because that's what was prophesied and because they turned away from what God established. But to be honest, I stand by my statement that these people are more humble and more godly than the majority of those calling themselves Christians and Jews. Go discern that with God.